animal villains get a taste of being good in this new sharp, snappy family film that has recently graced Netflix. The film was released on NBC Universal's Peacock streaming service on July 1st, 2022. As part of their 18-month deal with Netflix, the film was streamed on Peacock for 4 months, then moved to Netflix on November 1st, 2022 for the next 10, and then returned to Peacock for the remaining 4. Two signatures of DreamWorks Animation Productions are frenetic action sequences and adult pop culture references. Not all their movies heavily feature both, though many do. This is a studio that turned The Boss Baby, a fanciful children's picture book about sibling rivalry, into a yammering, scattering comedy with Glengarry Glen Ross references. The new DreamWorks cartoon The Bad Guys is also based on a series of children's books, and it seems to follow a similarly noisy pattern. It has an opening scene derived from Pulp Fiction or something out of Steven Soderbergh, leading straight into, yes, a raucous chase. Overall, it's derivative and goofy, but it stays lively by mashing up Zootopia, Wreck-It Ralph, and decades of crime movies. And yet, since this is a heist movie, it's the details that matter. And speaking of details, you may be thinking, have I missed anything? Well, if you're asking yourself that question, this video is definitely for you. But of course, before anything else, make sure first that you subscribe to our channel and you smash that notification bell for more updates on this. Now, here's every single detail and reference you definitely missed in The Bad Guys. A lot of well-known and even obscure action films are parodied in The Bad Guys, and these references, callbacks, and nods are present from the very beginning of the movie. 1. The opening scene is an exact mirror of Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. The opening scene is reminiscent of the famous diner scene from Quentin Tarantino's 1994 film Pulp Fiction, in which Pumpkin and Honey Bunny casually discuss their criminal schemes while eating the remnants of their breakfast before casually breaking into the establishment to carry out the violent robbery. Like Pumpkin imagine explaining to Honey Bunny, Mr. Snake and Mr. Wolf likewise begin talking about their problems in the same scene and location before going on to rob a bank. Naturally, everything in the scenario, including the dialogue, is toned down to a kids' movie level, which gives the scene a really witty and sarcastic feel. Additionally, some scenarios keep borrowing themes from other films, including Quentin Tarantino's 1992 film Reservoir Dogs or Dominic Sennett's 2001 film Swordfish. As it moves towards their escape and the introduction of the rest of the gang, the way Mr. Snake and Mr. Wolf are driving the automobile obviously makes one think of Hunter S. Thompson and his lawyer crossing the desert in the fabled red Impala convertible from 1971. The fact that Mr. Snake even looks like Thompson in his attire is a wonderful observation. The tiny white hat with a flowered blouse, he seems instantly suspicious because of this. We unintentionally make that connection when we see him. Another reference to Pulp Fiction is made in the dance scene between Mr. Wolf and Governor Foxington, which updates the famous dance between Mia Wallace and Vincent Vega. And this is not the last time Tarantino will be acknowledged in this movie. The movie really picks up a few notches after the squad is locked up and the mysterious Crimson Paw breaks into the prison, starting to show us some visual brilliance inspired by yet another collection of contemporary film references and homages. 2. The character introduction is a reminiscent of Suicide Squad. Similar to David Ayer's 2016 Suicide Squad, this character introduction employs flashcards to introduce the villains, although it wasn't as good as the one with Starro and Peacemaker. This one was better performed, fit into the movie's speed, look, and feel, and also helped to set the tone and aesthetic of the whole thing while being clever and humorous. 3. A reference to the classic heist film Ocean's 11. As soon as we witness the heist montage portion of this sequence, we can't help but think of Steven Spielberg's 2011 film Ocean's 11. The Bad Guys, which is essentially Ocean's 11 for kids, is built entirely on references of this film. Numerous features, including the use of voiceovers and explanations, camera montages, and even the dynamics of the characters, are carried over into the animation. It's simple to draw comparisons between the relationships of Danny and Rusty, and Mr. Wolf and Mr. Snake. We week, she thus made the decision to put on her costume once more to aim Team Wolf after realizing Marmalade was attempting to manipulate them. Because of her feeling, she ultimately made the decision to support them and help them. It pays homage to Isabel from Ocean's 12, a Europol agent who eventually joined the robbers after realizing Night Fox was trying to control them. The scenario also makes references to Tess selecting Danny when her husband was released from custody at the very end of the first Ocean's movie, when she finally picked up the whole Team Wolf outside of the jail cell in her car after the matter was resolved. 4. Ghost in the Shell and other anime references. Things start to become complex and the gamers start to feel uneasy when Miss Tarantula starts hacking the system during the Golden Dolphin heist, but she maintains her composure and says it's time to switch this baby on beast mode, and her laptop changes, deploying extendable keyboards that she can use simultaneously with all of her legs. This is a superb adaptation of the scene in the cult anime Ghost of the Shell, where the robot woman ominously spreads all of her fingers to spread out more robot fingers. And while we're on the subject of anime, the bad guy's director admitted that he based Mr. Wolf's personality on Spike from Cowboy Bebop. Other tiny anime references can be seen throughout the film, which incorporate sequences and snippets from shows like Ponyo, Persona 5, Prison School, Food Wars, and Loop in the third JoJo's. Oh, and there's one more subtle allusion to anime in the ball gala sequence, where the villains arrive at the gala. A woman can be heard singing Frank Sinatra's Fly Me to the Moon in the background. This song was used as the closing theme in the original Neon Genesis Evangelion. 5. Mission Impossible and Kill Bill references. We've already seen how Mr. Wolf imitates the roles of George Clooney and Tom Cruise, while also adding some Mission Impossible flair to his own actions and scenes, right? It's now Crimson Paw's turn to shine in a scene that borrows some of its best moments from the characters played by Kathy Zeta-Jones in Entrapment from 1999 and Quentin Tarantino's The Bride in Kill Bill. The conflict between Beatrix's kiddo and the Crazy 88 in Tarantino's 2004 Kill Bill 2 is expressly referenced by Crimson Paw. Even her clothing is similar to the bride's, but with the colors reversed. That's brilliant. 6. Parallel scene to Tim Burton's Batman Returns. Let's now look at the montage scene where Professor Marmalade activates all of the guinea pigs in the community after the meteorite is in use. If you love movies as much as we do, you'll notice eerie parallels between the scene and the scene in Tim Burton's 1992 film Batman Returns, where Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin, holds Gotham City hostage and bombs and trades animals and locations by using a ton of actual penguins. And there is a succinct, masterfully crafted ode to this timeless scene, presented in a pleasantly eye-catching manner. 7. Of course, at first look, The Bad Guy seems to be Zootopia's sequel, spin-off, or at least a sister movie. Except it isn't. It's tough to see the criminal humor with an animal theme without being reminded of the 2016 animated feature Zootopia by Rich Moore and Brian Howard. It's vital to remember that there are thematic and plot similarities between the two films, and once you do, it's difficult to not see how drastically different The Bad Guys is when it comes to intricate and nuanced storytelling and thorough world building. Furthermore, it is impossible to ignore Wolf's uncanny resemblance to Nick from Zootopia by adapting the same air quality and clear skies as Los Angeles. The movie pays homage to that city without using much sophistication. That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and smash that notification bell for more episodes.